Hello everybody and welcome back to Electric Mindset. Right now we are going to be taking a look at Dear Esther from the Chinese room. Now what I really found unfortunate about Dear Esther is it went on Steam, it got talked about a bit in a couple forums, but other than that I don't really meet a whole lot of people who, let alone heard of it, then played it. But the interesting thing about it is, naturally, it being made by the developers, the Chinese room, who were then, after this game, brought in to help develop the new Amnesia, which is also going to be the Chinese room. So, just from that, you'll be able to see from this game how they bring out atmosphere. For one, it's a beautiful game. Like, it looks incredible. But without me rambling, since I've been rambling, I'm going to check video settings, see what we got here. Enabled, blah blah, enabled advanced video. You don't go any higher. You don't go any higher. Alright, I get the point. You're all as high as you can go. Nice. Let's start. So this is more of like you exploring an island and someone's narrating a story. So you have to sort of listen to what he's talking about and piece the story together yourself.
Dear Esther, I sometimes feel as if I've given birth to this island. Somewhere between the longitude and latitude, a split opened up, and it beached remotely here. No matter how hard I correlate, it remains a singularity, an alpha point in my life that refuses all hypothesis. I return each time leaving fresh markers that I hope, in the full glare of my hopelessness, will have blossomed into fresh insight in the interim.
Alright, so as you can tell, it looks really good. I'm just letting you know you can't run, and the only thing you can do is do this slight zoom in. Oh, what's this? Now, this, to me, it sort of looks like the elemental make... I don't know how to say this right. It looks like an elemental... Oh, god damn it. It looks like a chemical... What would you call it? Oh man, I feel so stupid right now. I know exactly what I mean, but it's so hard for me to explain. Like the chemical formula. Elemental formula for some form of chemical. You know what I'm saying. We'll go up. So after I played this game, and I found out that Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs, was going to be... I can't remember if it's being completely made or being helped. Like, they brought in the Chinese team to help them make it. But after playing this, I was so excited to hear that just because...
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later.
There's a light down there.
The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
I wonder if that cave down there is the one he's talking about. So I'm pretty sure we have to get to the radio tower. No! You can't hold me. I'm gonna run into the ocean. Set me free! Oh, whoa, whoa.
Come back.
Whoa, what? So we're never gonna go in the water again, ever. But I did see a flash of the radio towers, so let's try heading there.
There was once talk of a wind farm out here, away from the rage and the intolerance of the masses. The sea, they said, is too rough for the turbines to stand. They clearly never came here to experience the becalming for themselves. Personally, I would have supported it. Turbines would be a fitting contemporary refuge for a hermit. The revolution and the permanence.
Oh. Oh, I know what this is! Oh! It's gonna bother me this whole game now. I'm gonna be thinking about it. It's... I think it could be like that spiral series of measurements, how everything can be broken down into like a smaller measurement of its spiral. I know exactly. Damn it. Okay. We're slowly making our way.
Donnelly's book had not been taken out from the library since 1974. I decided it would never be missed as I slipped it under my coat and avoided the librarian's gaze on the way out. If the subject matter is obscure, the writer's literary style is even more so. It is not the text of a stable or trustworthy reporter. Perhaps it is fitting that my only companion in these last days should be a stolen book written by a dying man.
Oh, we're just walking. We're just walking. Like Lord of the Rings up in
When
here.
someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boat, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection.
I haven't seen any chalk lines.
Wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this: to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
Oh man, so I'm gonna try and explore everything. Oh, I remember what that measurement.
We are not like Lot.
Oh no!
We feel no particular need to turn back. There's nothing to be seen if we did. No tired old man parting the cliffs with his arms. No gifts or Bibles laid out on the sand for the taking. No tides turning or the shrieking gulls overhead. The bones of the hermit are no longer laid out for the taking. I have stolen them away to the guts of this island, where the passages all run to black, and where we can light each other's faces by their strange luminescence.
It's called the Golden Spiral. I remember it now. I kept thinking about the Da Vinci Code, and I've finally figured out it's because it's Leonardo da Vinci's The Golden Spiral thing. It's friggin' awesome. Anyone who doesn't know about it, I
Dear
recommend
Esther,
just looking it up.
I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
There's some noises going on right now. I don't know how happy I am about that.
Outside your retreat, in this interim space between cliff and beach, I would leave you loaves and fishes, but the fish stocks have been depleted and I've run out of bread. I would row you back to your homeland.
You need to be quiet for a minute.
But I fear we would both be driven mad by the chatter of the sea creatures.
I need silence. I keep hearing noises coming from out of this cave, and I don't want to walk in here. That one's not a chemical formula. That's what I'm going to call them for the time being. That looks like one. What could it be? A tree. Growing into a tree. Okay. Oh, I believe in you, dude. You could do this. That's right. Just determination and persistence. Yes! I don't know if I'm supposed to be going back here, but I am. There we go. Oh, I'm so pissed. Okay, there's gotta be a better way. I'll just go up that path I saw. I love this little slow climb the game makes you do. Follow the water up. The music's really cool. I like it a lot. It's eerily beautiful, and it's like one of those types of soundtracks that throws you off because there is tension to it, but at the same time you can feel like an eerie emotion from it, if you know what I mean. So it's one thing I really noticed when I played this game was
I dreamt I
the
stood
soundtrack.
in the center of the sun, and the solar radiation cooked my heart from the inside. My teeth will curl and my fingernails fall off into my pockets like loose change. If I could stomach, I'd eat, but all I seem capable of is salt water. Were the livestock still here, I could turn feral and gorge. I'm as emaciated as a body on a slab, opened up for a premature source of death. I've rowed to this island in a heart without a bottom, all the bacteria of my gut rising up to sing to me.
More. It definitely looks like some sort of chemical makeup. All these hills. Feel like someone's watching me. I can handle anything. Come at me, wind. Come at me. Brah. Come at me, brah. What a lovely stroll. Oh. No turning back now. So far we've gone through a bit. Just keep an open mind when you're watching the playthrough is all I can really say. Like, it is a very interesting game.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
Now, I know I say, like, it's an interesting game, but what I mean more so is, like, it's really easy to make a game in a genre you know sells well. Like, if you can make a half-decent first-person shooter, people will buy that. Like, if you can make a half-decent RPG, people will buy that, because people love playing those types of games. I think with the Chinese Room deciding to take a direction like this, where you don't really... It's a lot different than the games you'd go and buy off the shelves now that get, like, really popular. And oh god, there's something standing down there. What, if I look at it, it disappears? Ugh. You can just see it a little bit like this, but do you see the black thing standing? Like, I'm gonna focus in on it. It's right there. Now I turn. See it there on the edge of the screen? Creepy. Anyways, the Chinese Room decided to go in a different direction and make a game where you can't run, can't do anything, you can walk around and listen to the narrative and soak in the story. And I think it doesn't just show that they're courageous to venture into those areas. I think it says a lot when a company does that because they're not sure how people are going to react to a game like this. So they have to work hard on it to make sure that it's something they themselves would want to play and something they would recommend their friends play. And I just love that level of dedication.
I wonder if Donovan's voyage here was as prosaic as it was presented. How disappointed not to have found the bones of the holy man. No wonder he hated the inhabitants so. To him they must have seemed like barnacles mindlessly clinging to a mercy seat. Why cling so hard to the rock? Because it is the only thing that stops us from sliding into the ocean. Into oblivion.
Well, the ghost has vanished. I just always have a lot of respect for the developers. I can't make a game. Like, if I worked for a really long time learning, like self-teaching myself how, I'm sure I could make a really terrible one. So when they can release something that's functional, I will give it a shot. That being said, I'm a pretty unforgiving person when it comes to games. Like, if they put something really stupid in, I'm not afraid to definitely call that out in my videos. Some games are ridiculous. Alright, so this is a beached tanker ship, it looks like. I wonder if that ghost had anything to do with this wreck. Man, I'm like holding down shift and I don't know why. Like, I'm not moving any faster. It's like impulse. natural gamer instinct kicking in. Hello,
There
Rock.
must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
No, they don't want me going up there. I don't see Ghosty over there. I saw a bird fly away when I started walking towards it. And I don't know if you noticed, but I don't see any other birds. So I think the ghost might have just, like, turned into a bird and peaced out. I'm out of here! Oh, no.
I had kidney stones, and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
The car of a drunk. So I'll give the explanation of the game that I've taken away from it at the end of the playthrough. But for now, just like enjoy the narrative and try and piece together what you think he's talking about.
I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The setting sun was an inflamed eye squeezing shut against the light shone in by the doctors. My neck is aching through constantly craning my head up to track the light of the aerial. I must look downwards, follow the path under the island to a new beginning.
This reminds me to the intro to Clockwork Orange. Is that piano keys.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jacobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
That sucks. All that work to die 2 years later?
My heart is landfill. These false dawns waking into the still never light. I sweat for you in the small hours and wrap my blankets into a mass. I have always heard the waves break on these lost shores, always the gulls forgotten. I can lift this bottle to my ear, and all there ever is for me is this Hebridean music.
Okay. I think... I don't know, I can't really say it, but a lot of these look like Half-Life 2 textures and objects. Like, I noticed it big time on this bucket back here, which from playing Gary's mod, I know I've seen this 100 times, and it looks exactly like it. So I didn't know that it was run on... It could, like, on the Source engine, but it does make a lot of sense if it is. Like, I'm starting to see the Source engine clearly in this. But it could not be. I don't know. I don't know for sure. Another empty room. Wonderful. Come on, fence. So he said the trail under the island. So I guess we're going down. That's quite a ways down. Where's the radio tower? I don't even see it anymore. Alrighty. Alright, walking.
What to make of Donnelly, the laudanum and the syphilis? It is clearly not how he began, but I've been unable to discover if the former was a result of his visiting the island or the force that drove him here. For the syphilis, a drunk driver smashing his insides into a pulp as he stumbled these paths, I can only offer my empathy. We're all victims of our age. My disease is the internal combustion engine and the cheap fermentation of yeast.
Such poetic expression. Quick turn. I can't die, so I'm not really too worried about it. 'Cause I'm invincible. I'm invincible. Which I think may tie into a bit of the story here. Like, I know it's a really small detail that I can't die, but I'm sure there's a million other logical reasons for that when it comes to gaming. Like, oh, there's no respawn points, or there's... Like, it's a story game. You can't die because they're trying to tell you a story. But I think it might actually tie into my theory about this story a little bit. Let's sneak our way in here. Alright. This is clearly stalagmite. Stalagmite. Stalagmites. Stalactites. Stalagabar. Okay, I was right. Dear Esther was done on the Source engine. Coolio. Robert Briscoe and Ben
Donnelly
Andrews are the artists for this.
From here on in, his guidance, unreliable as it is, has gone from me. I understand now that it is between the two of us and whatever correspondence could be drawn from the wet rocks.
Wow, this is like beautiful. It's just crazy awesome. So yeah, it is from the Source engine. There was 2 artists that worked on it. I don't know why I'm surprised to see its genre is labeled as an adventure art game. But it sort of makes sense after you go through it. Because, I don't know, just the color and the environments in this is really cool. Whoa.
There is no other direction, no other exit from this motorway. Speeding past this junction, I saw you waiting at the roadside, a one last drink in your trembled hands.
I just want out. Oh, what? I didn't even notice this went into another turn. It has good level design, too. Like, you just kind of flow through it on your own. now I can swim, but if I go into the ocean, it, like, gets really, really weird. Wow, like, I really like stuff like this, these little touches. Like, yeah, it doesn't have fluid physics or anything, but, like, using just the lighting effects and the simple running water texture, like, that's nice. Looks really nice. Mad props, developers. Good job, Chinese Room. I'm so excited for Amnesia Machine for Pigs. If you can put this much atmosphere into a game, then imagine what they'll be able to do with a series like Amnesia. I almost fell there. Oh, is that blood? Maybe it's just paint. Having blood wouldn't really make any sense. Like, the flashlight comes on automatically, you crouch automatically. They just make it really easy to play.
In my final dream, I sat at peace with Jakobsen and watched the moon over the Sandford Junction. Goats grazed on the hard shoulder, the world gone to weed and redemption. He showed me his fever scars, and I mine. Between each shoulder, the nascency of flight.
Almost there. Oh, almost fell off the ledge. More paint. A lot of, like, things symbolizing growth. Whoa, what the hell? Lots of crystals.
This cannot be the shaft they threw the goats into. It cannot be the landfill where the parts of your life that would not burn ended up. It cannot be the chimney that delivered you to the skies. It cannot be the place where you rained back down again to fertilize the soil and make small flowers in the rocks.
It cannot be. What is this? Behold, Damascus is... I'm sure we'll find some more to that. Wow, he just went all out with the paint here, didn't he? I want this cave to look like Tron's universe! All of it! I can't leave it until it does. Oh! Oh, I don't want to run all the way down there. Can I zoom in on it? Oh, whoa, hold on a second. Just hold on a second, I missed, like, a bunch of stuff. Behold, Damascus is... 0.22. Damascus is... What is Damascus? Damascus! Damascus is... What are you trying to say? This guy who's dick. Everyone is like scraped out. Away from being a city. And it shall be a... I want to say ruinous. I don't know if that's a word. No, that's not what that is. I'm wrong. Away shall be a... Alright, well, I'm sure we will figure out more. I've never taken the time to stop and read the things on the walls. Touch my face. Touch my face. I love the feeling of wet, mossy tentacles on my face. Oh, good. I guess we gotta go down. Can I drown? No, eh? I'm gonna stay under there forever. Sneak around the sides. Ah, ah. Okay. Oh, I am still swimming. It's the scene of a car accident, obviously. Does it say where? Nope. Oh my, damn it. I bet you it's the gigantic sign to my left. Okay. Portishead. Royal. The dock. So it's just the location. Let's get out of here. Are we through? I see the light. There's no going back there. And we're loading. I don't think there's much left of this. It's not a super long game. Interesting. Anyone in there? Don't know. Don't have an action button or anything.
The moon over the Sanford Junction, headlights in your retinas. Donnelly drove a grey hatchback without a bottom. All the creatures of the tarmac rose to sing to him. All manner of symbols crudely scrawled across the cliff face of my unrest. My life reduced to an electrical diagram. All my gulls have taken flight. They will no longer roost on these outcrops. The lure of the moon over the Sanford Junction is too strong.
So all those paintings we've been seeing that I keep calling stupid various chemical names is an electrical diagram by the sounds of things. That's just how I'm interpreting it. Anything out here? Just a candle? Oh, all the white chalk marks across the cliff with the radio tower just up there. Oh, another ghost.
Of fire and soil, I chose fire. It seemed the more contemporary of the options, the more sanitary. I could not bear the thought of the reassembly of such a ruin.
I see you up there.
Stitching arm to shoulder and femur to hip, charting a line of thread like traffic stilled on a motorway, making it all acceptable for tearful aunts and traumatized uncles flown in specially for the occasion. Reduce to ash, mix with water, make a phosphorescent paint for these rocks and ceiling.
Whoa, so I don't know if I misheard him, but did you just say all of this fluorescent paint is made from ashes of people? We got this game. I just saw this light coming from this cave. I feel like I should explore. Interesting. What the hell is all this? Looks like anesthetics, surgery tools, and a defibrillator. So who is watching over me up there? What do they want from me? What's in here? Picture of a woman. Never seen this before. It's broken. The frame, that is. Interesting. That actually... I had two theories about the story of this game. One of them that I was pretty sure about, the other one that was like a really loose theory. But that picture, I think, just got rid of that theory entirely. What do we got here? Tires. Looks like they've been here a long time. Door. Where are all these candles going? One over there. Over there. Just follow the candles. Is Creepy McGhost up there? Oh yeah.
All by the roadside, by the exit for Damascus, all ticking and cooled, all feathers and remorse, all of these signals routed like traffic through the circuit diagrams of our guts, those badly written boats torn bottomless in the swells, washing us forever ashore.
Okay. Okay, light from heaven shone around him. That's what it says written on the walls, but it's backwards. The words go in the opposite order. I hear something.
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Eggs. What could it... I feel like everything in this game is supposed to symbolize something, to mention part of the story. When I'll try to think of what eggs could be. I'll figure it out by the end. We're almost there. Look how close we are to the light, to the radio tower.
I will drag my leg behind me. I will drag it like a crumpled hatchback, tires blown and sparking across the dimming lights of my vision. I'm running out of painkillers and am following the flicker of the moon home. When Paul keeled over dead on the road to Damascus, they restarted his heart with the jump leads from a crumpled hatchback. It took 21 attempts to convince it to wake up.
Damn, they were persistent. I still see you over there, Ghosty. You're waiting for me, aren't you? What do you want? What are you doing over there, Ghosty?
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
This is where she, or whatever the thing was standing. Okay, so it's light from heaven shone around him, and as he was proceeding on his journey... What? As he was proceeding on his journey, what? Doesn't make any sense. Light from heaven shone all around him, and as he continued on his journey, or as he proceeded with his journey or whatever, and was come near to Damascus, and has come here to Damascus. Damascus, why does that sound so familiar?
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
He was 3 days without sight, nor did he eat or drink. We're almost there. We're so close now. And I've been working up a sweat walking up this mountain. Oh, my curiosity is like too overwhelming.
There are headlights reflected in these retinas. Too long in the tunnels of my island without a bottom. The sea creatures have risen to the surface, but the gulls are not here to carry them back to their nests. I've become fixed, open and staring, an eye turned on itself. I've become an infected leg whose tracking lines form a perfect map of the junctions of the M5. I will take the exit at mid-thigh and plummet to my Esther.
Plummet to my Esther. Okay. Well, I found keys here. It's like car keys. And it came to pass that I made my journey. And was I'm gonna say overcome. I know it's not what it says, but overcome unto darkness. Damascus.
blind with panic, deaf with the roar of the cage traffic. Heart stopped on the road to Damascus. Paul sat at the roadside, hunched up like a gull, like a bloody gull. As useless and as doomed as a syphilitic cartographer, a dying goat herd, an infected leg, a kidney stone, blocking the traffic bound for Sanford and Exeter. He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all. All his roads and his tunnels and his paths led inevitably to this moment of impact. This is not a recorded natural condition. He should not be sat there with his chemicals and his circuit diagrams. He should not be sat there at all.
One second here. One second. I got something bugging the hell out of me right now. I need to know, for the sake of this playthrough, because I don't want to leave anything out. Okay. Now I know where I've heard it from. Damascus is a really, really old city. I think it might be the oldest city in, oh, where the hell is it? In the Middle East. I knew it.
I am the Ariel. In my passing, I will send news to each and every star.
Wasn't Damascus also the name of a land in a Final Fantasy game?
Dear Esther, I have burned the cliffs of Damascus. I have drunk deep of it. My heart is my leg, and a black line etched on the paper all along this boat without a bottom. You are all the world like a nest to me. Eggs unbroken form like fossils, come together, send small black flowers to the air. From this infection, hope. From this island, flight. From this grief, love.
I'm a bird! I'm a bird! It's a really subtle detail, but you can tell from the shadow on the ground that I'm now a bird.
come back.
Alright, well that was awesome, and it was an experience. Now, there is no... there's no, you beat it, the end. Like, they don't even send you back to the main menu. They just let you sit here in pitch black and listen to the sound of the waves. Which, I'll explain now. I have two theories as to what this story could mean. I'll start with the theory that I don't really think it's this one, but... Anyways, I think because of the fact he seems to address Esther directly, and it sounds like he could be talking to the player themselves. I think they got into a car accident. Like, the whole thing, in both of my theories, him and Esther were in a vehicle. And Paul was another guy driving on the road, on the highway that night. He was... At first, he pretty much just had a head-on collision with them. That's the accident we saw on the road. And then he said earlier, near the beginning of the game, that someone, he didn't say if it was Esther, he didn't say anyone, he said you. He just said you were rendered opaque. And I think you could be Esther in a coma from the accident, and he's like reading these things to you or talking to you about dreams he's had and stuff like that. And the reason why I believe that is because if we go into the water, we hear come back, and then we get brought back, and then at the end of the game we hear come back Esther. And I think you flying off the island is finally waking up and going back to whatever, but that's like, I don't think that's it. What my main theory is I believe you are in a state of sort of purgatory. You're dead, but you haven't been sent to any area yet. And I think you might be the guy who's reading the memoirs. I don't know how it would be done. Maybe he's just like, he's getting read back his own memoirs after Esther passed away in the car accident. Now, I believe at the beginning of the game, he's so full of rage and anger at Paul, who he says was drunk driving at the time. And if you hear him, he does nothing. He's really harsh when it comes to Paul. He talks about him being a drunk, him being a kidney stone, like, to the traffic of the city. And near the end of the game, he sort of says, in the grief, he found love. And I think, in the end, he's sort of trying to say that he's realized that Paul wasn't drunk, because he says that Paul wasn't drunk at all. And I don't know if he's saying that sort of symbolically as like, oh, he was meant to be there the whole time, he wasn't drunk, he was just led there. But I think he was coming to terms with the fact that Paul wasn't drunk and it was just an accident. And I think once he came to terms with the fact that it was an accident, there wasn't anybody to blame, and he had been selflessly hating and wallowing in all this grief and not letting himself pass on, that's why he was stuck on the island. He couldn't leave the island, but when we went into normal water, he couldn't drown. And we didn't have that same effect. So he wasn't allowed to leave this island, but he also wasn't really affected by being underwater at all. So I believe that by him finally just forgiving Paul and moving on with it and accepting that it was an accident, he was finally able to, like, turn into a bird and fly away from the island. And that was sort of like, either way, that's both my theories. If you have a different theory about what you saw in the game, leave it in the comments. I'll definitely read into it. And also, if you have any other game suggestions that you know that are some underrated, really interesting, or just kind of weird games, then throw me a message in the comments and I'll be sure to check them out and get back to you. As always, no matter what time of day it is, day or night, have a great time. And remember, stay in the electric mindset. Take care, everybody.